build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Well, they gave me ball, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Longbangers. I'm Matty. This is episode 98. Joy tonight. I'll go just round in anti-clockwise. So first of all, I've got Colin. Colin, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm all good, mate. Yeah, just living the dream. Monday, first day back at work after the weekend, and then only another 4 to go. So happy days.
A long week ahead as well.
This week is because what we're looking forward to. I was dreaming about it last night. We're 2-0 up, early doors, and then at half time it was turned into Hearts that we were playing, and we held on, survived the late onslaught, and won the cup. So I'm taking that as
a sign. It's a sign.
Aye, it's actual facts. What's happening? Then we've got Jamie. Jamie, how are you doing?
Doing good, thank you very much. Doing good, aye. Excited about the week ahead. As Colin says, it's going to be one of them that's going to drag out. I was actually supposed to be off on Friday and go and see my pal, who stays in Glasgow, but he got the heave low after they're staying in level 3. So I'm now be working on Friday, an extra longer day. But working for the house, so that's all right.
That's not bad. And then we've got Sean on as well. Sean making his Longbangers debut. Sean, your Curvy Nisbet's adopted dad. What's the script there?
You're asking me like I know. I think the story's longer than John is, and he's a pretty long boy.
Yes, aye. We'll not go there.
No.
That's how the show got its name. How are you doing, Sean, anyway?
Good, I'm actually really quite excited. I'm a bit of a fanboy of Longbangers, so it's almost an honour to be here in the present of the greats.
We'll take that. good to have you on anyway. Right. We'll start off talking about the Celtic game, which was the curtain. I was going to say the curtain raiser, but it's the curtain coming dooner. Curtain faller. What's the fucking expression for that one?
Just closer, isn't it?
Curtain closer.
Just closer.
Closer. Fuck it. It was the end of season. It was the end of season game. It was a bit of a non-event, but we will try and find something to talk about it anyway. Colin, what did you think then? What was your view on the game?
Well, I was on Quick Bang on Saturday, and I couldn't think of anything to say on Saturday because nothing happened, like I said on Saturday. But I think the two teams weren't that interested, were they? Celtic started off first 10-15 minutes, few chances. Marciano made a few good saves to remind us or to wave us goodbye, sort of thing. Other than that, I think much happened. Apart from, I forgot about on Saturday was Edward's free kick when he banged into the top corner just as the referee was blowing his whistle. So that was quite fortunate. That was quite lucky. But and then I think Jackson Irvine had the chance right at the death actually as well, which we didn't get a corner for. Which if he missed, I was hoping it was a corner because it was a bad miss if I had never got his foot yet. But other than that, the most interesting thing for me was we had 2 goalies on the bench, and I'm really not sure why we had 2 goalies on the bench. That was it. I can't think of anything else to say about the game. There was really nothing to say, other than obviously Hallberg, no Malberg or Melberg or whatever it was we were calling him. Can he stay on side? He's even worse than Boyle. I'm on about Boyle running off side, but there we go. It's not as easy as it looks. We
were trying to work out whether Hallberg was caught offside more or less than Colin Nish in his career in that one game. Because it's a hard task because Nish was offside a lot, but I think he gave it a good bloody bash anyway. Colin, by the way, your summary was almost word for word exactly the same as Jack Ross's.
Is that what you said?
Was it? No.
I thought he said it was fucking shite. I thought that's
what he said. Jamie, what about you, mate? What did you think of it all?
It was just a damn scrubby a game, but everybody knew that. And now having to play for both teams. Surprised Celtic actually started too strongly. I still can't wrap my head around why we gave Scott Brown a present and a sending off. I'm like, be back with Aberdeen next year. What the fuck's going on?
That's horrible.
It didn't make any sense at all. And I believe during the build-up, they gave Marciano a tiny wee piece and dedicated loads of time to Scott Brown. It's like, he's played for us for years, decades. But anyway, a bit of a damn squib game. I'm just glad that everybody come through unscathed. You've got a full complement to pick for. Jackson Irvine does need to get his shooting boots on. That was a bad miss in my book. He made a really bad error against Dundee United as well. Said he's trying to take it with his left, he's trying to hit it with his right and put it over the bar in the semi. Just, I didn't care what's wrong with him, but he's a better passer than the boss. There's a finisher anyway.
I think it's to do with Australia, Ken, how that's upside down. So sometimes your left and rights are a bit confusing when you come into the northern hemisphere. That's what happens. I think his shot was deflected. I think we should have had the corner. I didn't think
he should have still scored.
Even if it was a miss.
Even if Ireland does get a touch on that, he's still got to do better than that in that area.
How does that work? But if the defender's blocked it, he's...
No, I know, but it's it must have been the slightest in Nick. So he could still do more than that. I think he should definitely be doing better than that. I'm sorry.
I thought linesman should have been doing better, but anyway, he had a good view. Should have been actually the referee was quite close to it as well.
No, just behind it, I think.
Aye.
Behind it, though. Yeah.
What about the free kick then? So the referee blew. It was a split second, wasn't it? If you watch it, it's almost as he's swinging the boot at it. He goes, stop.
He wasn't looking at him though. Colin was giving it. He was looking ahead and pointing that way. And he wasn't looking at me. He didn't know Edward was about to ping it into the top corner. That was a beauty. And you just get the next time you see Rocky creeping over a bit, thinking he's still doing that again. Of course, you never do it twice in a row anyway, so he was always got to hit the wall or something, money. But the Celtic fans can't even about that because he wasn't looking at him. It wasn't deliberate. Like he never stopped him in his run up. He didn't know where he was. So, and see on that the Hibs TV stuff, Jamie. Sorry, the be a lot of Celtic fans probably paying to watch the game. I reckon we were pandering to the Celtic masses that would be on the pay-per-view. Stacking in the studio and that as well. I think that would be.
I do agree with that, but we shouldn't be doing that. They would never do that to us.
No, I know. Well, we didn't even get to buy it for them.
I don't think we do. I think Celtic, if they buy it, it's like, we get Cliff Pike in that if we're watching St Johnstone TV. I'm not sure if Celtic get the pre and post match stuff.
I don't know. Oh well, maybe I'm wrong. I just thought that maybe was the case. Like no.
You do Kilmarnock and St Mirren. You can see their preview before the game, and you can switch it over to a different link, and you get the Hibs the broadcasting.
Is this when you buy it legitimately?
And obviously the Rangers.
What was that?
Is that when you buy it legitimately?
Mm-hmm.
Aye. Right, we'll take your word for it.
And I've bought loads this season because my other means of watching the game's been really poor. So I've bought pretty much every other team's pay-per-view.
Good stuff. Sean, what about you? What was your view on the game?
I listened to Quick Bang and I agreed with pretty much everybody said, with the exception of it being a nothing game. Because I thought there was a good few players out there where that game meant a lot to them. And you could see it. You know they were trying their best to show something. Dre Wright, Daz, Porto, they were all there and they were all putting in like a serious shift. And you could see that they're like, it was a nothing game. Celtic were barely trying. A load of our guys were just going through the motions at times, but there's performances in there. They're like, no, I'll be in this cup final. You could see that, and I quite like that.
Big Daz was amazing.
It's a good point you make there, Sean, because one of the performances that got overlooked, and we definitely never talked about him on Quick Bang, was Porteous. Porteous had a good game. You forget because McGregor got all the attention. It's easy to overlook how good a game Porteous had, because that was the discussion we had on Saturday, wasn't it? It was who should play in the cup final, McGregor or Porteous. But actually, Porteous didn't really do anything wrong in that game to make him think that he should be dropped either.
I'd say so.
I think there's
loads of chat.
Good, Jamie, you go.
There's loads of chats between my pals basically saying that we should match up St Johnstone and play the three of them at the back, which then obviously you would have to either concede a midfielder or drop McGinn. Which, to be honest with you, I think it'd be hard pushed because he's played every minute of every game this year. So I understand, obviously, the thing, but I don't think we should be switching up how we're playing in any formation going into the last game of the season when we're coming off some great football the last few games.
That's what I'm at with it as well. Stick with what got you there in the first place, but you've been playing well, so I agree with you with that one, Shavy.
You
Sean,
can
what
see
did
what
you,
he done with the team. Like on Saturday, there's the eight on the bench, like we said, are all playing next week.
Yeah.
And there was 3 positions up for grabs, and it was McGregor or Porteous, and then the 3 midfielders, Newell, Hallberg, and Gogic, two of the 3. That's it. That's the team, isn't it? It's no. I think there's any doubt about that. He's not going to start asking about the formations and drop Mick in, or put Boyle up front and all that kind of stuff. It's not going to happen.
you wouldn't
There's
think
the
so,
option
eh?
of substitution as well, though, because Trey Wright came on, done really well. He's had a couple of substitution performances. But then, oh Christ, his name's just went right in my head.
McGuinness.
Our serial substitute, the other one, Murphy. Murphy, whenever he's came on lately, he's been terrific. So
Yeah.
I reckon there was a bit in there where it's just like, right, let's see how everybody runs here today, because who's going to be our best off? I think it's Murphy by a country mile. I'd bring him on as a sub every time. Whether it was we needed to stretch them because they were attacking us too much, or we needed a goal, I'd be bringing him on. So I think he's looked terrific anytime he's played. But,
I agree.
I didn't think McGuinness was really up to it. I don't know. Like, people say great things about McGuinness, but and I've been dying to see it because John has probably mentioned it before. I am more than positive. I love Hibs players and I want everyone to do well. Me and him have got that in common. And I've not seen anything from him yet, really. A lot of trying hard, but always seems to be a yard behind the ball. And maybe that's just game sharpness, but it's just,
He almost gave away a penalty on Saturday as well. It was really blatant.
I really hope he comes good, because I think the way people have talked about him, because I've never really seen him when he was at Seasonn, but the way people have talked about him, that he's really got something. I'm dying to see it. I haven't yet.
I think with St Mirren, he was young player of the year 2 years in a row. Then obviously captaining him at a young age and everything. Anytime I'd seen him first St Mirren, I was impressed with him. I was dead excited when we signed him. I think he's just not really had that run in the team to kind of build his confidence up or get the sharpness up, whatever it is. You'd presume that he's been fit long enough to kind of get his fitness levels up, but I don't think fitness is the same as match sharpness. So hopefully with a decent pre-season behind him and another, like that'll be a year that he's been at Hibs. Hopefully we kind of see the best next season. Did anybody have any complaints about the team selection?
No.
Can I just clear something up, because there's been loads of chat? Am I right in saying that you wouldn't be able to promote youth players for a one-off game because there has to be a certain amount of first team players to play in a league match? Is that right? You can't just play youth, can you?
I think you could, in theory. I think the issue, and this is kind of piecing together bits of information that we've had, so I stand to be corrected on it. But I think there's a couple of issues. There's one that the development team played on a Friday night. I think so. Some of the players were away there, but also because of the way that the bubbles have been working for COVID, that unless they'd all gone through the same testing regimes and stuff, you couldn't just draft them into the squad. So I think last season, when you never had any COVID issues, if you wanted a couple of young boys to come in, you could just go, right, you're in with the first team tonight, and then they would come into the squad and that'd be that. Whereas now you'd have to probably plan that weeks in advance, which I think we would have been able to do because we didn't ken we were definitely third until we beat Aberdeen.
Yeah.
I asked that as well, Jamie. I thought that there was no. I was surprised at that on Saturday when it was just effectively the 8 that are going to be playing next week. We're just straight on at the bench rather than a couple out altogether sitting in the stand with a couple of young laddies and either starting or on the bench. Because the one that's been about the squad is Bradley, isn't it? That's been about the squad recently. But I was listening. I think it was Hibs talk earlier on, and they were saying that he was injured. I think so. Maybe that's why he's lost his chance. I think that's what they said. I might have got it wrong. But that was that would make sense why because he's been on the bench and had a couple of chances here and there. But I can only imagine he's injured, and that's the only reason he never got a start. Because he must have been.
It made sense to play the players who had picked up wee knocks and had like Newell, Hallberg, stuff like that. Had picked up wee knocks. It's good to give them a run as well and get them some minutes. And then obviously going into next week. But I've loads of chat with my pals on WhatsApp about that.
And 2 goalies on the bench, Colin. You mentioned that he is anybody annoyed that we never took the opportunity to do a Man City like they did with David James.
Why not? Stick the big man up front. 6'7" years apparently. You could chuck a big high ball at him, see what happens.
You could have done an Alison Becker if you saw that.
Aye, it was cracking, he done,
Aye. Anyway, I'm not talking about English football. Imagine if you put Macy up front though when he got injured, fucking going for the header.
I know. It would have to be the laddie. It would have to be the Brosky that went up front.
David James, when he came in, he just ran around kicking everybody. He was like Kyle McGuinness. That's what he did on Saturday. Anyway, he was maybe just filling that role for him. Right, I think there's that much more to talk about. Maybe Marciano. I suppose Marciano finished his Hibs career with a clean sheet, assuming he doesn't play on Saturday. Jamie, how would you summarise Marciano's time at Hibs?
I think he's been the most consistent goalie we've had in a long time. We'd been crying out for a decent goalie. We'd had some dross over the time. You've Mark Soxley, you've got Skelton, just not very good keepers. I'll tell you a story about Skelton. My pal used to work in a travel agents, and when we beat them, when Latapi had scored the penalty that day, he had a particularly good goal. He had a good game and goal. And he went in, my pal's a Hearts fan, he went in and went, "Get that up, you Hearts bastard," in the shop. And I thought it was tremendous. So he'll take that one from me. But
lifetime contract.
Is it not got done for, was it got something that got done for like armed robbery or something like that? Like, who am I thinking?
He'd be murdered at hiding unless he stood right next to a tree.
Do you know what? This is, of all the things that's going to get the podcast into trouble, will be me alleging that Kelson's a fucking criminal. Again, I might be talking shite, right? It wouldn't be unusual. I'm sure. Oh. See what? Normally when I say something like that, John will quickly Google it in the background, right? And I'll kind of keep talking. But I would do it myself, but you have to spell it. I'm like, oh fuck! Former Hibs keeper arrested. You might find it.
That's brilliant, man.
Sean, what about you? How would you sum up Marciano's time?
I don't think it's a coincidence that the strength that we've came from to, does that make sense? We've got better with Marciano in the team. Like he's been solid, he's been brilliant, he's been an absolute asset the whole entire time. It's that simple, isn't it? He's a massive loss, but Macy looks good.
Yeah, it's good having somebody decent coming in to replace him. Paul, what have you found?
Just to say, Hibs goalie arrested comes up with Graham Stack, right? Loads of stuff on Graham Stack. So I had to go Icelandic at the end of it, and you're right. So first of all, house breaking, robbery, and violent attack 10 months ago.
No way! What? How did you know that?
I'm sure I read it. It's probably in the message board or something.
I doubt it'd be at some point.
So it's not the only goalie to be arrested though. So he's in good company.
Graham Stack, he was on, was it the Magic Sponge or something like that? Was that the name of the
Jimmy Bullard
podcast? And he was talking about fucking stealing tractors and that on holiday and going into a nightclub and showing folks coats and stuff. Like it's all good banter. And you think, fucking hell, you showed a tractor. As you come out, you didn't get your coat back out the cloakroom. You've got your wee raffle ticket and that.
Oh, that always happened to me.
Can I get my coat back? Look, fucking it's gone.
You can't have your coat, but here's a JCB.
Here's a JCB. I always thought they were the shittest raffles, eh? Like, all you ever won was your coat back. You never got like a fucking tin of beans or a bottle of wine or fuck all. Right. So that's Marciano covered off. Season's finished, other than the cup final. How was the season for you? So how did you find it? Colin, I'll start with you. How was this season for you?
It's funny, isn't it? Because it's one of the best seasons, or hopefully the best season in our lifetime after Saturday night. But it's just not felt like that because of the sitting in the house watching on the telly, I think. It's not the same you didn't get out for the game as much. You're just sitting watching it with a cup of tea or a coffee or whatever on a Saturday afternoon and highlight your days phoning in. Quick man, you know what I mean? It's like it's not the same when you score a goal though. It's just not. It's funny. It's just not been. But on paper, it's been a brilliant season. But it's funny. I was watching Sports Scene last night, and they done shortlist for goal of the season, and we never had even a goal in that shortlist. And I can't think to even say how is that one win it, because I've not got that much. I can't recall any brilliant goals. We've had great consistency. Aye, that was a decent goal, aye. But other than that, that's a fair shout. Maybe it was too late for the cup on the programme, I suppose. But you look at it and you think, I can't think any. We've had some good results, but nothing spectacular.
Gogic's one. Ken, if you're including Ryan Kent's one, then you put in Gogic's in for me.
That was a good strike.
Gogic's strike was better. Just about fucking took the net off.
Yeah, that was still going through. Still rising. Yeah.
Kevin Nisbet's in the cup was a cracker or not. It was one. I think it was maybe Cove Rangers when he's flicked it with the outside of his boot into the corner.
Right enough, right early.
That was a
cracking
but
goal.
that'll be league goals only, of course. But that you're right. That was a beauty. Yeah. But it's just not been the same, is it? It's just not been. Even though 3 semi-finals, we've not been to any of them, and third in the league, and it just feels. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. But that's nothing to do with Hibs. You know what I mean? Hibs have been brilliant, but it's just been a bit sort of damp square. Really, just we're sitting in the house watching it.
What about you, Jamie? Have you found that?
Well, I think anybody would hard pressed to say it wasn't a good season. Take away the fact that we've not been in there. I completely agree with Colin. It's been frustrating not being able to go and see the team. But they've had a terrific season against all odds, really. So you can't not being third in the league. I've made 2 semi-finals and 1 semi-final for last year, and then a final. So a terrific season. If we can cap that off with a win on Saturday, my God, that would be absolutely outstanding. I just was saying the season that we've had. I've seen that Sky had released the details of the team of the season in Scotland.
Aye.
Did you see it?
I saw the colours. I saw the strips. So fuck that. Didn't go into any detail after that.
8 Rangers, 3 Celtic or something.
Aye, that's Sky. It's just total absolute nonsense, man.
Sky didn't give up. Look at it yesterday. They had the relegation sort of decider. Didn't even show it. Didn't even show it. No, it wasn't. It's like what coverage is that at the game? Like they would definitely be at Burnley, Sheffield United if it mattered. You know what I mean? But they'll no show the biggest game of the season for the teams. Just mental. Didn't care.
It is because
didn't care as well.
I mean, fucking Ross County Motherwell. I mean, that is a big game that folk would be fucking itching to see. I
would have watched that. I was sitting watching Edinburgh City before I came on here. You see the goal the boys scored there? I know it was a cracker. I know first they 1-0 up at half time.
There was a thing. Sky released the details of how many games they'd shown. So I think they had the rights for 47, and they showed 42. I think 7 of the 42 that they showed didn't include one of the Old Firm. So it shows you how little they give a fuck about Scottish football.
So they didn't even show the whole allocation.
So they could have, by rights, they could have shown probably all those games on Sunday, which makes it made a disgrace that they didn't. The only kind of positive that I've got for Sky is that they agreed to show the games, or for the clubs to show the games in pay-per-view next year, despite having the rights to it, which I thought has been brilliant this season for somebody who doesn't go to all away games. Like I'll go to away games when I can. But to see all of them, like I've not missed a minute this season, I think it's a great idea, and I think clubs, even beyond next season when they've got full crowds again, should be looking at a way to have that on offer. I don't think it will stop folk who go to away games from going to away games, so you'll know impact crowds. But see, for folk who can get to the away games, the chances to still be able to watch the game is fantastic. Anyway, Sean, what about you? How did you feel about the season?
Aye. Reflecting on the boys' stuff, they're like crap not being at games, just shite. Just as shite not being at the pub. Like it's that level. Horribleness. But for just the Hibs perspective, just the boys in the park, probably easy. Like probably the breeziest season we've ever had. Like our biggest lull was like 3 games. Like, well, when does that happen? I was just every time anybody got like there was a sniff of a draw with whoever, or there was a loss, and it was panic station, Jack got shite, get him out, and like it just tailed off because the performances were just that consistent all the time. Like, it's probably as easy a season as we've seen Hibs play, and I don't. Maybe easy is the wrong word. Like as professional or as
comfortable or something. It was. You're right.
As competent as a season as you've seen. I think it's been brilliant to watch.
I think it was Ewan for down the slope. I'm going to credit him with this stat. I'm not sure if it definitely was him. So we weren't out the top 4 all season, which
It was Ewan that was saying that.
which is incredible. Like that's a great stat to be in the top 4 from day one, and then finish third is again something that Hibs I can't mind us ever do. We always have that kind of bit in a season where we're like really shite. But like you say, Sean,
January to May.
Aye.
It's usually January to May.
It's usually that's why we never won the fucking cup.
Exactly.
Our bad run came at a bad time every season. But this season, I think we talked about it in the podcast early days in this season about how the team had found a sort of level of performance and a way of playing that more often than not would get them wins because we tended to control the ball or no concede too many chances, that kind of thing, that we were always looking comfortable in games, even in other than the odd occasional one where we were shite, but even in the big games, so-called big games, I still felt we were pretty comfortable in them, even if we didn't go on to win them.
I agree.
So, it's been. I've enjoyed the season in that respect. I've enjoyed watching us. No, every game, like we have had a couple of shockers, and it's definitely not as good as being in the stadium because even like when you miss and you're watching on the TV, if there's like a shot that goes wide, there's no reaction to it. You just go, oh, kind of unlucky. Whereas when you're at the ground, you're like off your seat.
Have you found it easier to accept a loss when we're sitting in the house watching it? You just switch it off, and then or they're normally having that bit waiting to get out of the stadium, walk back to the car, listening to Richard Gordon in the car on the way home. Right now, you can just go stick back BBC One back on, and that's it. Or is it just me?
I don't know. It depends on the game. For me, it's been how we've lost. So I think what were the 2 games we had back to back in what was that, December, January time? Ross County and Livingston, the 2 home games. And I didn't think we had a shot on target out of the 2. In fact, a shot on goal, never mind on target, out of the 2 games. And they were so bad. And those 2 performances pissed me off for ages, much longer than normally they would. But then it's a good point, Colin. If I'd been at the ground, it might have been worse. So maybe that was me just kind of getting off light. I don't know.
I remember.
It's the same.
Listening to how angry you were.
Well, I said it was like
lost, Matty, but it's all right. Don't worry.
I was like, I think I described them as Butcher-esque performances. It was like as bad as anything that we've seen under Butcher.
Terrible.
And folk were like, I got a bit of stick for it for kind of like I wasn't implying we were going to get relegated or that we were in any trouble, but just those specific performances were as bad. And I stand by that. I got a wee bit pelters for that on .net and stuff for folks saying I was overreacting, but it's like, well, if you've played 2 games at home and you've not had a shot on target, that's shite.
Yeah.
Or a shot on goal. Doesn't matter the opposition really, unless you're playing fucking Barcelona or somebody. But if it's Ross County and Livingston, you should be getting a shot on goal. Anyway, they would dwell on the negatives because that was
it's
like
the same on the
games
flip,
out a good season.
It was a bad time though, because we had the semi-final, the other semi-final about the same time, didn't we? But
yeah.
On the flip though, do you celebrate a win as much as you do when you're at the game? I don't. Again, similar, just like flick it over to see what games on Sky Sports or something. I mean, I didn't reflect on it as much. Yeah, it's like, God, what else is on now? You know, I don't know.
When we scored that second goal last week against Dundee United, I was off my seat jumping about my living room.
Aye, same here.
I was the same here, but that's I can't think of another time this season I've done that.
But see, when
I'm the same.
When we did Quick Bang after that, and we had folks singing, and there was all the noise in the background and stuff. That was probably the closest I've come to carrying that emotion beyond the full time. So into the next week, you're still kind of buzzing for it. And then when we beat Aberdeen, I was buzzing after that for a wee bit as well. And they're just shit. I
tend to not let Hibs ruin anything for me. I kind of got over that a long time ago. It happened more often than no. So as much as I'll be disappointed and I'll have a wee sort of grumble and moan to my pal, as I was saying on the WhatsApp day, I never boo. I just didn't understand it. So it's you can play shite and I can be unhappy, but I wouldn't boo. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Especially not for the couch, like nobody's going to hear you.
Well, my missus saying, what are you going on about? Yeah, well, but it's as I say, I tend to, once I've left the game or once it's there, stopping another beer and just get on with it.
Aye, it's a good way to be. Season highlights then. So, Sean, I'll start with you. What's been your highlight of the season?
I've struggled with this all day because you put that in the little brief. I know, we've got to come up with something clever here, because John would come up with something clever, and I'm supposed to be filling in, but I've got that. Doidge's goal, Doidge's volley the other week there, where he's flicked it up with one foot and then he's belted it with the other. Like, for someone who doesn't score good goals, or someone who's just not good enough in a Hibs, or doesn't do enough finesse work, that is an absolute wonderful bit of football. And I think his season's performances deserve that bit of quality to round off what should be considered a good season for him. So I'm taking Doidge's goal.
You're taking Doidge's Bergkamp-esque goal scoring exploits. Jamie, what about you?
I'm just going to keep it really simple. Reaching the Scottish Cup final is massive. I was been bleating on about this. Was dead nervous, wanted to get in it because it's been such a shit year for everybody. And for it, like, if the Hibs is a group of people, I'd love us to do it and just kind of be that one thing coming out of lockdown, having such a good bit of emotion in the pubs, and get in the pub and watch the game, it would just be absolutely tremendous.
What were you, Colin?
I think kind of touched on it a minute ago, but the semi-final Dundee United game, that was probably the only time this season that I always come and cook dinner after the game on a Saturday, come in here, do the call, and then start cooking the dinner. I had the tunes on the Alexa, blaring out, singing along, and that was probably the only time this season that it's carried on that long. Obviously got the big game monkey off the back, even though we had one of the big games, but folk weren't recognising them as big games and all that. So at the end, you can't argue with that one, because it was their criteria. So it was just a good feeling that day, and I'm hoping that Saturday's even better. But that was probably the highlight of the season. I do think we've played some good stuff this season. A lot of people are criticising us for playing poor stuff, and I said to you earlier in the season, we're playing all right, but it's bits and starts, like, it's never feels like we did 90 minutes. Hopefully again at Saturday's turn, but we do play some good stuff now. I think some of the media and that are over exaggerating now, but we've got some fans that downplay it to the other extent. It's like, we do play some decent football, but the amount of times I've read or heard folks saying we're playing shite football, I think, not really. We're not really playing shite football. It's just no for 90 minutes. And we're not wiping somebody off the park, and we're winning 2-0 or 2-1 or 1-0, but then everybody will come back to when we lose. It's a results game. Yeah. Well, it's a results game, we're winning, and we're playing all right.
How many times have we played that split pass, they split a defence this season? Loads of times, and we've got goals from it. I've never known it to be so open like that, to Boyle through, to have Nisbet through, what have you. I've got a Scott Allen-esque pass. That's happened loads of times this season, for Newell, for Irvine, stuff like that. I've been some really good football with him. Aye.
And we've scored all sorts of different goals as well. I think that's what's impressed me with Hibs this season. It's, although you can point to, we've got Murphy and Boyle, so you'd expect us to be really dominant down the wings. Like you say, Jamie, they'll play through balls, we score for crosses, we're kind of hitting the byline and cutting it back, we're scoring some long range shots. The fact that the three strikers have got almost 50 goals between them, it's like, it's good. It's hard to back up the argument that folk were saying earlier in the season that we were boring. It's kind of how you can have that many goals in you and be boring. Anyway, I was going to talk about lowlights, but fuck it. The point talking about lowlights. That's just negative. We've got a big week ahead of us, so let's not dwell on the shit stuff. Who's been your best signing this season? Who wants to go first for that one?
I actually got something done. I'll let you go.
Does Dougie Tripod count as a sign?
It's a good shout, by the way. And something in the break for the season. Well, he's been at the club because he was out on loan last season, wasn't he, at Queen's Park? So you probably couldn't claim as a signing.
Can I just
you could have had him as your highlight.
I could have.
The emergence. It's pretty obvious it'll be Nisbet, or the one I had. I thought Nisbet's the best signing, but then I thought, if I'd be trying to be a bit clever, Boyle re-signing.
That's what I said.
Because we'll probably sell him on for more, like keeping him on that deal. But as I've said numerous times, when we play well, it's because Boyle's playing well. I think if a team can keep Boyle quiet, Hibs are generally quieter, even though we've still got Doidge and Nisbet there. Boyle kind of makes us tick, probably no, but he's the exciting player. He's the one that gets into the positions and creates opportunities for others. And I I think him re-signing was a big boost at the time. And, made a big
I think
difference.
it's spot on. But do you think there's an argument for Irvine as well? Because really, I'm saying we didn't have many lulls, but the one lull we did have, Irvine came in, and then that's what picked us up. So you could say that the drive towards the end of the season started with him.
He was definitely an impact, or had a big impact. I think him and Cadden came in at the same time, didn't they? And then Cadden started really well and then got injured. But Jackson Irvine, that way around. He's not been amazing in any games, like in loads of games, but I think he's given us legs in the midfield. Folk talk about having legs in the midfield and somebody who can kind of be that box-to-box type player. I think he's the closest we've got to at the moment. He definitely makes a difference. Brings in the best in Newell, I think, as well. Right, Jamie, who you've gone with Boyle, or have you got somebody else?
I would pretty much going to say what Colin said there. Had Nisbet not thrown the toys at the pram in January, he would have got that best signing. He went through that bit of law, and Jack Ross kicked him out the team because of it, which I think was the right move. But Boyle, for me, definitely the most important signing of the season, because everybody thought he was away. And he's been tremendous this year. Kenny's not been like on fire every game, but he just gives you that different dynamic going forward and what have you. And I still like the fact that everybody calls him Martin Boyle on the telly, so he'll do for me.
He's the sort of player that, it's like you were saying, Colin, even if he's no firing on all cylinders, his teams have to be wary of him. It makes it really hard to defend against Hibs in general, because it must be a fucking nightmare. You're looking, you've got Doidge, who just works his socks off as an absolute handful. Nisbet, who's like the crafty player, who again, his movement's excellent. And then Boyle, who can just fucking terrorise you. And if one of them is quiet, you've still got your hands full with the other two. And there's the risk that the other one will pull something out the bag, like Boyle did in the semi-final against Dundee United, where he was shite. He wasn't shite. He was all right for 70, 75 minutes. And then he had like a 5-minute spell where he was just running them ragged. And you just can't leave him alone. So, it's a good shout. I wouldn't have picked Boyle for it just because he was a re-signing. I would have went for Kyle McGuinness or Jay Wright. Obviously. Right, where would you improve for next season? So we finished third this season. We've got to the cup final, and fingers crossed we'll win it. What area of the team are you strengthening next season? Jamie, I'll start with you.
It all really depends on who leaves. To be honest with you, I'm not. Who have we got out of contract? You go Jackson Irvine going to go, which I think will be a big loss. Now, I've said on Quick Bang before, if we are going to let him go, or he doesn't want to sign with us, or he's got a better offer somewhere else, whatever it may be, we need to try and push the boat and try and get Alan Campbell for that position. There's touted about information on Twitter saying that you can get him for 500 grand. That's an absolute snip if you can get him for that. But I also think we'll probably need a striker. I'm not sure if Gillen will come back into the fold and see how he'll be. I think he's definitely got talent to play there, but if the manager doesn't fancy him, we could look at strengthening there. But as I say, it all depends on what happens during the close season, who stays, who goes, kind of deal. I'd be disappointed. I think Nisbet will probably go, maybe Doig, and then definitely a centre half. And if we can get the laddie Kerrin for St Johnstone that's been mooted about, then he's really good on the ball as well, and really good in the air. So I definitely take him.
He was just in the paper this week or yesterday saying that he was wanting to stay at St Johnstone. Thinking if that's just a week up to the cup finals, so just taking the speculation away. But I agree. I think he'd be a good signing. What about you, Colin? Where would you strengthen?
I've got a wee list, but I was going to say, see the 500 grand. That might sound unrealistic, but I was listening to McGinn. Stephen McGinn was on the radio on, I don't know, Thursday night, I think, and he said Nisbet signed for 500 grand. So I assume he's in the know. I'm sure. I'm pretty. I was going to rewind it and listen again, but pretty sure he said 500 grand that Nisbet signed for. So if we were paying that this year, then why can we not do it again when we've cashed? Because we'll probably cash in on that and at least double our money, won't we, or quadruple it? I think there's a few things to change. I think we could do a goals for a midfielder, because we've not really got all our goals are coming for strikers. So, which sounds like I'm complaining, but we've got I think if Neil scored any goals this season, Irvin won.
One, I think.
And
No.
and Halberg, I think he's had any Gogic, the one that I can remember. So it's like, you know, it's single figures. I say single figures, single digits, like finger digits. But so a goal scorer midfielder. We gave one away in Malin, obviously, but then he doesn't give as much in the other aspects. So it's a bit of give and take there. Obviously, our backup defence is the 2016 Cup. So they're getting a bit old now, maybe, the backup. And as I've said before, in Europe next season, no matter what, we're going to need a bigger squad. So we're just going to need numbers. Now, I'd rather have, I get my quantity and quality mixed up, but I want the quality, but we need quantity as well. So I think you might need to have a look at that, because otherwise we'll get to about October, November, we'll not be winning every week or most weeks like we have this season, and the knives will be back out. So because we're away to Azerbaijan on Thursday night and back to home to St Johnstone on Sunday, and folk will be scrambling about looking for reasons why we drew 0-0 or whatever. It's because we were on the plane, and Ken, I mean, we're just not going to have the numbers. We're far too light, is it? Well, we're not far too light. Look at the season we've had. We've really risked it this season and got away with it, really, with the numbers we've got. And it's good. Like, David Gray came on, he was great on Saturday, but like, can we rely on him next season for a whole season? I mean, I don't know.
Whatever.
I know. He's got the lifetime contract already, isn't he? But it's that, I don't know. I just think that the backup, they're getting older and older. We're going to have to get young bodies in. We're going to lose a couple at least. He's already said that at the AGM. So I think we're going to need a load of signings. We had no strikers as backup. We played with Nain on Saturday. So we already need strikers as backup before we sell any of them. How negative the Arsenal day, but I just think there's huge chance to make improvement. There's every position almost. If
players go for the money that's been getting talked about, the 500,000 for Campbell is going to be small change for Hibs as well. Do you know, we're looking at a potentially very lucrative couple of months for Hibs. It looks like season ticket sales are going well. If things go away on Saturday, that's a nice wee windfall for us. And then if we sell a couple of players that are attracting the big attention, you could be looking at a 10 million, 12 million pound plus summer. So 500,000 for Campbell is well affordable. Sean, what about you? Where would you like to strengthen in the summer?
Probably the turf, the pitch. That would be a good start. We're going to be playing a hell of a lot of games, and it was bloody honking for a good portion of the season. So whatever we do, get some extra strong super grow grass seed in there. Some of the good stuff. I've been learning all about punching holes in your grass and aerating. Maybe they need to do a bit of that. I don't know, Ken. But
I saw a thing on the infomercial channels that you get, like if you fall asleep with the telly on and you wake up in the early hours of the morning, and it was a thing it was like grass patches. It was like a fabric thing that they put down.
I know what you're talking about.
And then they watered it, and the next thing was like fucking Wembley.
It looks like green plastic.
No, it wasn't plastic. It was.
It looks like it.
Aye, they just roll it out and then water it, and then Bob's your uncle was like fucking crest.
Get some of that in.
They should just get that.
Is that advertising Hibs TV, no?
No,
must be the only thing that isn't it?
That'll be this weekend.
In all seriousness, I thought Colin had spot on. I think there's a few areas that we need to strengthen to be able to keep going in all fronts. And I think the trouble we're going to have is the same thing that we're all quite chuffed about. So we're all quite chuffed that we're going to get good money for a few players. We're quite chuffed the fact that Big Ron saying, listen, I'm not selling unless you're giving me the right sort of money, because we don't need to sell because we've got money. But all that does is bump up the price of everybody that you go for. You look at Man United. Man United can't buy a second string English league player for less than 25 million because they've got hundreds and hundreds of millions. So us bragging and doing well, all that means is your 200 grand player is 500 grand. So I think we have to be a bit careful and a bit shrewd about how we play it.
Aye.
But I'm sure Big Ron's got it in the bag.
If any other clubs were listening to the podcast, they're always been in Lira when I was saying about getting film. So we've not got money. I think the strikers are an issue. Not for the fact that the ones that we've got didn't perform. I think just for the, like you said, Colin, the numbers. The Saturday there was a prime example where we couldn't go to the bench and bring on like a Chris Dagnall or something like that to start the game. You were relying on Melker Hallberg, which isn't a position we want to be in because it would only take two of them getting injured. Like if
And I get the reasoning sending. You're right, but I get the reasoning sending Gullen out. He's better playing because he wouldn't have been playing all this time. He would have got a game on Saturday, and that would have been about his only game for February onwards or whatever. Fine. So I get the reasoning behind it, and hopefully the laddie is up to it that he can be fourth choice striker next season and play a bit more minutes because we will need a fourth choice striker next season that we didn't need this season.
Aye. And we've got this tie-in with Portsmouth as well. Did you see that today? No, Portsmouth. Brighton Hove Albion. Aye. Typical, I get that fucking wrong. Jackson Irvine. That's who we've tied up with. Irvine Jackson and Brighton and Hove Albion. Two teams down in that area of the country, Brighton and Hove Albion. What do you make of that? Bit of news. Good thing, bad thing?
It's got to be good.
See how it pans out. It's going to be youth players going both ways. So it can only benefit them. They're going to get some different games, different formations, this, that, and the other. And if we can get some really good up and coming players for them, because they've done well in the Premier League this year. They were all right.
Yeah.
What is the tie-in? Do we know? Like I've not read anything on it.
Aye. So the idea is focused primarily on player development, and I don't know whether that includes player exchanges, but I think what Hibs are trying to do now, and this is just my take on it, is they talk about this yellow brick road pathway that they've got for development players coming in, and they say the path's going to be different for everybody. So what I think that will look like in practice is you'll have player A will go out on loan to the Lowland League and have that experience, and then they come back there and they might go across to Charleston Battery in America and get a year's experience in America, which is a bit of a higher level than the Lowland League. Then they might come back to a season at Stenhousemuir or a season at Brighton. And then we might have players from Brighton come and experience in our academy as part of their development journey or into our first team as a stepping stone to going into the team in the Premiership. So I think that's how they're looking at doing it. But the other thing that we're talking about is being able to share best practice, to use kind of corporate wank words, and go down and see kind of what are the best coaching practices, how you develop in your scouting system and all that kind of stuff, and just share experience and knowledge with each other.
And are they well known for having a good scouting system and that? Like, is that why we're teamed up with them, or what's the?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you what their setup is like, but you'd imagine it's a fairly expensive one because they've got the So
we could also exchange seagulls, eh? There's enough of them in Leith.
The seagull exchange was a deal breaker, wasn't it? That was kind of they've got other ones that just terrorising everybody. They embrace the seagulls in Brighton. They've got a big fucking homage to them on their banners.
See, when you said they embrace the seagulls, I've got pictures of them lying down on the pitch just waiting to be shackled.
Bring it on. Mind that happened. Who was it? Ashley Young. Was that his name? The Man United player that was played at the bird shot in his mouth.
That's right.
That's some folk. When somebody gets a bad injury, everybody goes, "Oh, yeah, but I just can't look at it." That's my one of that. Like the injuries, I'm not so bad with. But anytime I see that clip and he's running, he's a fucking direct hit. Imagine the kudos that Seagull got for his mates.
Premiership football. What Premiership player? Pay for birds to do that for them.
Aye. just no during the game. I'm sure there's a Gary Lock joke in there somewhere that we're not going to make for legal reasons as well. Right. Film or a song title to sum up our season. What have you come up with?
Well, I put, I'm racking my brains for ages trying to get something with this. So I went for Stand By Me. And the reason for that is because during halfway through the season when everybody had the daggers, get him out, we can't win big games, he's no good enough for Hibs, we played boring football, blah, 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 blah. Stood by him, and he's got us into this cup final, got us 11 wins on the road, playing some decent football, and we can't keep chopping and changing managers every second year or year and a half. It's just not on. Got to give somebody a run at it. So Stand By Me. Come on, Jack Ross.
Nice one. Colin, what about you?
Well, I'm hoping Sunday's the Hangover Part 2. But the in terms of songs, it was a similar line in that. There, I was thinking, "Don't look back in anger." Even if we do get beat, you know what I mean. It's still been a good season, but it's not going to be obviously the what we want. But my main choice was probably moving on up, aim people, because that's what we've done this season, and hopefully we'll carry on moving on up.
What about you, Sean?
I went for Bittersweet Symphony just because it's been beautiful, but it's been shite not being there. It's really boring, but that's all I could come up with.
That's a good one. From Facebook, Andy Allen, he had a few good men. He never had a few good men. His answer was a few good men. And, I was implying that. I'm sorry about that.
Is that just because you can't handle the truth, Matty? And he did have a few good men.
I want answers. Vince Robinson, he said, From Misery to Happiness today from Shrek. Alan Shaw, Roller Coaster by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I've got a big order for Alan Shaw's Bakers for Saturday as well. Tom Fairney, Lightning in the Dark, for those flashes of brilliance that have got us to the final. Ian Tully, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, and also The Big Lebowski, Louis Stevenson, Abides. Kenny Whitson, Some Heroes Don't Wear Capes by Callum Beattie. Do you know that song?
No. He's for Leaf, that laddie, though.
Is he?
Aye. He sung Salamander Street.
All right. Oh, I can who he is. You say Jack Gillies, Living on a Prayer. That was for Twitter. Life is a Roller Coaster, Ronan Keaton. That was for Charlie Banks. Paul King, Rita Sue and Bob 2. Doesn't really help with the answer, but that was the first thing that came into my head.
That's it.
Dave Graham, I'd rather Jack than Fleetwood Mac. The Reynolds Girls. Good Times Come to Those Who Wait. Close Encounters of the Hibs Kind. Jack Ross is The Wizard of Easter Road. Stop or Kevin Nisbet Will Shoot. And The Good, the Bad and the Ugly. Pick your 3-starring actors. Hard to Beat by Hardfi. That was from Bestie to Beastie. This is Ask Me Again on Saturday afternoon. 150k on Hanlon Hill said Milk It, Nirvana. As it says, enjoy it while you can. Don't take anything for granted. Hashtag old bastard. Andrew McBee said The Man by Aloe Black. And there's a nice wee picture of Jack Ross in his green cardigan. And 3 is a magic number, also from Andrew McBee, with a wee photo of Boyle, Nidgebit and Doyce.
He just put a wee bit
our Newfoundland life.
He needs to wear that green cardigan. He needs to wear that.
He needs to.
If I don't see him in it or I have a photo of him in it by the start of next season, then life's not right.
There's a challenge. Gauntlet's been chucked down. Joe Parker said, hopefully for Saturday, Moloko, the time is now. Oscar Ramage, Star Wars, The Force Awakens. That was a good one as well. The Third Force, there we go. And I think that is our lot for it. Oh, no, it's not right, but it's okay. Andy Grierson, that was for Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston sung it. Andy Grierson didn't sing it. And Whitney Houston sang it on Twitter. She sends us stuff on Twitter. No, she doesn't. She's didn't she? Mm-hmm. Right. I didn't realise that when I started that. I was just going to pretend that she sends us stuff on Twitter, and I got halfway through and thought, no, she doesn't. Jeff Ashton, The Sound of Silence from Simon and Garfunkel, or My Perfect Cousin, The Undertones in brackets, Kevin. And Ladij, I fucking tell you, you stupid cunt, by Joe Viterbo. I kind of mind that one on Top of the Pops. Maybe
I'm still trying to get over the punchline she's deep.
Jeff Ashton, Wish You Were Here, Pink Floyd, which I think we had already. Ray, Flaming Lips, Yoshimi battles the Pink Robots, and he said Hibs or Yoshimi. And Kaiser Soze, he's at the last one of the night. Journey, Don't Stop Believing, which is kind of what we need to do for, or need to not do for. What do you do? Do you not stop believing, or do you don't
double negative?
No, don't not stop believing. Fuck it, keep believing.
You got any? Did you come up with any? You set the question. Did you come up with any?
Did I? Nah, I didn't. No. I didn't. I kind of set it, and then never thought about it again. So, if I was Goodfellas, did that for the team, and then if the three boys score goals at the weekend, it could be The Usual Suspects winning it for us, and then Time for Heroes, we'll go with that as well, just the Hibs DVD. I hope that does the trick on Saturday. Anyway, right, I can't remember, did we do predictions on Quick Bang Call?
Yes, we did.
We did. Can you remember what you said?
I do.
2-0?
I did. 2-0. Porteous and Deutsch.
I can remember.
Porteous is due one. He's coming up big here. He's not. I can't think him scoring one this season. He used to chip in. Well, I say used to, even in the youth team, and then even in when he first came in the team, he must be due a goal for a corner. That love train thing they do, and that when they all go different directions, and then the ball goes a different direction again. The Saturday it's going straight on the Porteous' head and wrapping it in. That's the
Shiny Hibs people. That was someone that I thought of, and then
look at that.
just now. Porteous has scored a Scottish Cup final winner, didn't he, for the youth team?
I think so. Aye, at Aberdeen or something.
Aye,
Was it? Aye.
I'm sure he got the winner in that game. Jamie, what was your prediction for Saturday?
I just hope we win. I'm not bothered what it is. I don't like making predictions because of a horrible way coming and biting me in the arse. So I just hope we win. That's I'm confident that we are due them one, but if we turn up on Saturday, it'll be a joy to see. I'm no bothered how it comes, it's just as long as you get over the line.
Nice one. Sean?
I'm going 4-1. It'll be 1-1 up until the 70th minute, and then we're going to start banging them in.
Take that. Yep, that'd be nice.
I'd take that every day of the week.
I can't remember what I said on Saturday. I maybe said 3-0 or something like that.
No, you said I'm not predicting, because what we discussed, remember, was that your predictions are notoriously shite, so you've got to back St Johnstone at the bookies because you've never won a bet in your life. Is that right? Is that something like that? It was
more or less. More or less.
So that was what we decided. You weren't going to say nothing. But I do feel more confident for this one. I never feel confident for a game like this. But I say never. You'll remember the time the Kilmarnock won. I backed 4-1 and Rob Jones first scorer in 2007.
Aye.
So when Fletcher tapped that fifth one in, when Coombe made an arse it was like, fuck, I just lost however many hundreds of pounds.
It's like the opposite of one going wide where you're like, listen.
You're John Martin and that's done me a few hundred quid. There wasn't much money I had on it, but the odds obviously for that were quite... The other time I felt confident was, this confident, was a Hearts game, but we ended up drawing it 2-2, but we started off with flying 2-0. Zamama scored. Mind the one Zamama put Craig Gordon on his arse and put it in, and we went 2-0 up, and then Zibby came into the game and gave him a hand. And I was like, because it's 2-0, I'm going, they're doing it again. I knew it. I came through it away. So hopefully the feeling's justified.
Aye.
Fingers crossed, Colin. Keeping everything crossed for that.
And what's the plan? Like, we win it and everybody's doing the Leith Walk and the links and that, just to trash the place and go fucking baggering each other. Is that,
aye, definitely.
that the deal?
I don't know whether they do anti-Catholic or anti-Protestant stuff. I'm not sure what side to go. So I'm a Protestant, always a Catholic. But I didn't believe in God. So what did I do? What did I do?
Take it away. Just cover all bases.
My pal works, she owns an embroidery shop in Duke Street, and she's going to fill our place with drink. Just when I was going to talk about that, I'm going to make me this towel.
Brilliant. Right. So this is our last, I was going to say last Longbangers before the Cup final, last one of the season, but it's not quite. So we're doing a Scottish Cup preview special on Thursdays. So instead of doing short bangers, we're going to do that, but we're also going to wrap in a bit of long bangers to preview the Cup game. We've got a couple of the boys from down the slope coming on to join us as well to mark the occasion. And then on Saturday, we'll do a quick bang night after the Cup final. And on Monday, we'll have episode 100, long bangers. That's why we're squeezing episode 99 in this one. I was like, looked at it last week, I was like, oh, fuck, that's going to go to... Can't remember if it was you that pointed that out, Colin.
I messaged you after this.
Aye. I thought we better squeeze one in so we can hopefully commemorate episode 100 with some fucking good news. Didn't let me down, Hibs. That's all I'm asking. Didn't let me down.
If no, just first game of next season will be episode 100. Otherwise,
you'll lose years for the rest of the summer. Right, guys. Thanks very much for coming on anyway. Thanks for listening, everybody. That's us for the night. Good luck for Saturday, and we'll see you then.
On the Dry County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no.